I'm Michael.
Today we're checking out Ierusalem, Anno Domini.
Yeah, from Devere. And it plays 1 to 4 players. Yes, there is a solo mode. And box time says 90 minutes. I would say that's pretty optimistic.
There's no way.
We will
Especially
try.
with 4 people. There's no way. There's just so many things to consider.
There's a lot.
This game is deep. This game is deep. So you can't just do willy-nilly things because you have to plan. I think Michael and I were like a point away from me, or we tied or something. It was ridiculous.
I think we tied.
And it was a score of like 235 or something. It was like 237, I think it was. And we tied. So every point matters.
It really does. And we had different strategies even.
Totally different strategies.
But you sat me next to Judas, and that's what's something. Anyway, in Jerusalem, Anno Domini, you are basically a bunch of followers in Jesus's time, and you are trying to get your followers seated as close as you can to the other apostles and to Jesus. So, there have been knocks against Christian themed games quite a bit because a lot of them are just not good at all. This one does have a lot of strategy to it, unlike a lot of other Christian themed games. Now, on the other hand, there are a lot of people who are like, how could you do a game about sitting followers close to apostles or next to Jesus and using that as actions? That's blasphemy. I don't get that at all. And, me being a Christian myself, I don't have a problem with this one bit.
It's the same thing if you were to put like the Backstreet Boys out there. Everybody wants to go sit close to them.
I mean, exactly.
It's the same thing. But different.
But different. Except, yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at this monster of a game. It takes up a lot of the table. Oh, Jeff, Dan says Jeff Warner had a prototype years ago where you could actually be Judas. Not sure if it got published. So... So Bree is taking notes. Apostles are the same as the Backstreet Boys. No.
You got the idea.
I wish I could name some Backstreet Boys songs, but I guess that was not my time.
It was not your time.
Not my time.
Saying if somebody's super famous, they're gonna get followers.
Exactly.
Jesus was super famous.
Jesus was super famous back in the day. So there is a 2-player game side and a 3 and 4 player game side. This is actually the 1 and 2 player game side, I should say. The two sides differ in that the parables will all be arranged down here, and these 33 AD cards will be sitting next to a favors track. You will not use the favors track in a 1 and 2 player game. You will use it only in the 3 and 4 player game. On the flip side, you're not going to have these neutral colored followers that are seated around the Last Supper table. You're not going to have those in a 3 and 4 player game because the 3 and 4 players are going to populate the table. But this comes pre-populated with what are called friendly followers. Otherwise, there's neutral followers, basically. You will also, in a 2-player game, use the black and white versions of these cards. You will not have the 4-player colors, red, blue, green, and yellow cards. So there are some differences with the gameplay for all 3 of these versions: the 1-player, the 2-player, and then the 3 and 4 player version. So
it is very different to play 2-player versus more than 2 players. So the rules are actually...
Well, have you played this 3-player?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But just what I know about it is very different.
So whenever playing 3 and 4 player, you're gonna put one follower in each of these locations and one follower in one of these locations of your choice. The desert, the mountains, the lake. So whenever you're playing 2 players, you're going to get 2 at each location. So keep that in mind. All of the neutral followers will go specifically in this orientation. You see where the yellows and greens are in this little pattern. This is the pattern it's supposed to be in. Steph, did you say that? I can't remember on the setup. We had done the initial setup wrong initially, and
we
I
basically
did not.
choose a spot to one of the diamonds to sit at.
And we get
nothing.
We get nothing. Okay, got it. So
they're already sitting out there.
Already sitting out there. Now, you can place the. There is stone and food and fish. You can place these out there, the stone and the desert and the food and the mountains and the fish and the lake, but we have this little meeple tray that we are using. It is important to note that we did not take the time to sticker every one of these resources, so we just left them normal.
It does come with stickers and for our meeples, but we just kept we just kept everything unstickered.
Yes, so we did sticker the apostles, and each of the apostles, each of them has a name. This is Philip. Say hi, Philip. Hey, how's it going?
That's in yours old.
Whoa. And there is even one. This gray colored one is for Judas. You've got Jesus sitting at the middle of the table. We've got these Mahoney cards that will give you. If you'll notice, these starter cards that are in our hands, they will have a location action that you can do up at the top, and then there is there are extra actions that can be carried out, location actions and follower actions down here at the bottom. The Mahoney cards, as you can see, they have 2 follower actions at the bottom of these cards, and these 33 AD cards, they're even better. They tend to have 3 icons at the bottom of those cards. So that is how those cards rank according to strength. Beginner, better, much, much better. A lot of people have described this as deck building with amnesia, because you do get to acquire these Mahoney cards and 33 AD cards, but once you've used them, they basically go back to the discard pile. So I would not really consider this deck building. So if anyone says that it is deck building, it's not, because you're just using those as a one-time use card.
They're always better cards.
They're always better, but they are one-time use.
Picking and choosing the actions you want is the key to those cards.
Exactly. So each of us will place 1 stone, 1 bread, and 1 fish, and 1 offering token. You see this offering token right here.
Call him a pigeon.
A little pigeon. And it will be worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. And that is going to, anytime you put an offering in your warehouse, if you decide to, whenever you have the option to, you have to have space for it. And if you decide to put it in there, it's going to stay in there. Now notice all of my followers in camp and all of my items in my warehouse, they consume all this space. If I have a bunch of offerings in there, yeah, it's going to be worth points at the end of the game, but it's going to make it difficult for me to store resources in here and then spend them where I need them. You'll notice all the other followers you have go here, and then you have a blocked warehouse space down here at the bottom. There's a little tile that goes over the top, and sadly, there is no way to remove that in a 2-player game. You can remove it in a 3 or 4-player game by doing favors for other people. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So, the first player, Steph, has been chosen to go first. She's going to get 4 denarii. I'm going to get 5. If there were a 3rd and 4th player, they're going to get 6 and 7 denarii. Also, the first player will put their score marker on the little doves up there. They're going to be first player on the 1 spot, second player on the 2, and then 3 and 4 for the third and fourth players. Each player will draw 5 cards from their 10-card starter deck. I've got my deck underneath here and my cards that I have in my hand right here. Mm-hmm. So we've also got these parable tiles that we set up in a 2-player game. We've got a parable with a 1 on it on top of a parable with a 0 on it. You will collect these over the course of the game. And then you have these Sanhedrin tiles. Basically, shuffle up the six tokens and then place them all out. There is one that is used only for a 2-player version. Remember, there are no favors, so you have to take out the favor token and place in this friendly follower token.
Yep.
So, there are 3 different types of victory points. If you see a pentagon, it means score it instantly. If you see, as you can see right here, score 1 point for each offering you have, and that is in that yellow pentagon. If you see a green circle, like on some of these cards, it means that you will score those points whenever you interact with the apostles. And then there are the purple triangles, and that is end game victory points. So 3 different victory points. This game is icon heavy. All of the follower actions you can see, there are a ton of them, and that's mostly what I'm going to be going over in these rules. So I've already mentioned a little bit about the cards. In short, when you play your cards, see if I can find that here. Oops, that's into the game. Excuse me here for a second. There we go. So what you're going to do is you've got your 5 cards. You're going to play a card from your hand, and then you're gonna do the location action, and then you're going to do all of the follower actions. If you've got multiple, you must do them from left to right. You don't have to do those follower actions if you can't do it or you don't want to do it, but you must do them from left to right. Once per game, you can choose to not play a card on your turn and use your illumination tile instead. I will talk a little bit about that in a bit. After you finish taking the actions on your card, if you have a complete set of location symbols on your player board, like let's say I just played this, that's going to go right here. You'll notice it's got that mountain symbol on it. If I had finished playing this and I had a column with these 3 symbols on it, specifically visited in that order, 1, 2, 3, and they were in this column, I can take these cards and discard them, and I will get to interact with one of these purple apostles. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Thirdly, you can purchase a Mahoney card for 2 denarii, and that just goes directly in your hand, and then you're going to refill your hand to 5 cards. If you already have 5 cards because you purchased a Mahoney card, you don't draw any of them. If you have more than 5 cards, you must discard until you have 5 cards. If you discard a Mahoney card or a 33 AD card at any time, whether you discard them after visiting with an apostle or you just discard it out of your hand, which you wouldn't really want to do that, it's going to go to the bottom of these stacks. So we are basically going to do that many times until the Sanhedrin marker reaches the last space on the track, and that is when Jesus is condemned to death. It can either move normally on the game till it reaches the end of the track, or if a player places their last follower at the Last Supper table, then that Sanhedrin marker is automatically moved to the last space of its track. the game is over. End of game VP will be awarded, and you are going to get points for all the parable tiles you've collected. You will always collect them in order from 1 to 7. Notice that they are worth an increasing number of points. But it goes 1, 3, 6, 10, but you would expect 15, 21, 28, but that's not how this goes. It starts tapering off at the end for some reason. You're also going to get points for your followers at the Last Supper. You are going to score based on how close you are to those apostles. These apostles are going to be seated in these spots around Jesus, 6 on one side and 6 on the other. And it's almost like Jesus is in the middle on top of the table or something, but that is probably not how it went.
You don't know.
I don't know. I was not there. So you'll notice the little numbers on here. There's a 4 for these purples, a 5 for the oranges, and a 6 for these white followers. Purple, orange, and white. Not for Judas. Judas, you'll see up here, -5 points. So whenever you place these followers, you're going to get a bonus action, as you can see next to those colors, and they are going to be worth points or negative points for how close you are to those followers. So let's say I've got this orange apostle and he's next to Jesus. Then you are going the followers placed directly behind Jesus or the apostle is going to earn let's see. They earn exactly as much. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. The orange apostle is worth 5. So the person sitting right behind that apostle will get 5 points. One space behind that is going to earn 4 points. One space behind that is going to earn 3 points. So it's decreasing as you go back. Anyone that is sitting next to Jesus will earn 7. There are 7s in the corners of the Jesus tile. And so anyone sitting next to Jesus, right behind Jesus, will get 7 victory points, 6, 5, 4 as you go back. Judas is a special case. Judas is a -5. If you're sitting right next to Judas, you're going to get -5 points, which is sort of weird. It's like, even though he's a bad dude, that doesn't mean you're a bad dude. But yeah, you're going to get minus.
Following him.
Anyway, -5 points for being right behind Judas. -4 for being behind that. -3 as you as you might expect. So you're also going to get 1 victory point for your offerings. And if you still have your illumination tile available, you're going to get 5 victory points. The highest score wins. If there's a tie, whoever has their illumination tile on the player board among those who are tied wins. And Steph, I think that's how you beat me.
Yeah, I managed to do a swap-a-roozy.
Yes. Yeah, and you sat me right behind Judas.
Oops.
So, yes, we will talk a little bit about the friendly followers as we get to it. But let's talk a little bit about those specific icons. So you'll see a little hand right here. If you ever see this symbol, this means listen to a parable. They're just from 1 to 7, and they're basically, these are all in Latin. Like this is it says bonum Samaritanium, which is the Good Samaritan parable. When you get that, you're going to place it on your board. You'll notice it's covering up this bread spot. Hey, cool, I'm going to get a bread and a victory point immediately. You're going to get those from 1 to 7. Here's the catch with these parables. You can only get those parables if you have at least that many followers already sitting at the Great Supper, at the Last Supper table.
We have 1 right now.
We currently have 1. It's sitting over here on the side, and it is sitting next to this follower, this apostle right here. So this apostle is going to be good for me. This apostle is going to be good for Steph. You got those little side seats, I guess. Anyway, if I have 4 4 followers that are seated around the table. I can get up to parable 4, but I can't get number 5 until I have a 5th person at the table. Anytime you see feet on a stone, I wonder if I should put this up. The feet on the stone is go to the Last Supper. This means you get to take one of your followers from the location where you have the most followers, and currently it's any of them, so you get to choose. You can take one of your guys and place them out here onto any one of these open spaces as long as you can afford to pay the cost. And to find out the cost, you are going to intersect the column and row symbols on the side. So if you're going to seat anybody at on this row, it's going to cost 1 fish. If you want to seat them at this column, it's going to cost 1 fish. So if I want to place right here, it's going to cost 2 fish. If I want to place it here, it's going to cost me 2 rock and 1 fish, 2 bread and 1 fish. If Steph is on a spot, I cannot displace her, but I can displace these what are called friendly followers, or basically they're neutral followers. I can place it here, pay the cost, take this into my area. It doesn't have to go in my camp. It can just go anywhere.
You're not kidnapping.
You're not kidnapping them. But you cannot get whatever benefit is underneath. Notice that there are symbols all over these boards, like listen to a parable, get a 33 AD card, etc. If the symbol is visible and you place your guy, you get the thing. If you place it on one of these friendly followers, like I did just here, and remember that's just for a 2-player game, you do not get the bonus. So you don't have to look underneath these guys and see what the bonus is, because you are not getting it. So
you get the meeple.
You will get this meeple, and later on you can place this friendly follower with the place a friendly follower action. And that is, again, this is only on a 2-player game. It's this little symbol where it's got this little, the hand is on this follower's head. That's where you place one of these friendly followers, not one of yours. And you will place it anywhere you want on the board. Here's the cool part. If you place it right here, notice I've made a contiguous group of 4 yellow meeples. Hey, that's going to be worth 4 victory points immediately. And then if I put one here later on, as long as it's yellow, that's going to be 6 points, because it will make a contiguous group of 6 meeples, etc., etc. So that's how that works.
The yellows want to congregate, and
the greens want to congregate. I guess that's what they want to do. So, some other symbols. There is an even better version of go to the Last Supper, and that is be invited to the Last Supper. That's where you're not just running on the rocks. You're picked up off the rocks, and it just snatches you up and puts you into the Last Supper without having to pay for it. You just place your guy wherever you want to place them at the table. Obviously, I cannot displace Steph's meeple, but I can displace one of the friendlies. There is a symbol. It looks like 2 people doing handshakes, and that is on the 3 and 4 player version, so I don't have it available, but it just basically looks like a handshake, and that is do a favor. And if you give one of your favor markers to another player, then they're going to get those resources. For example, it might be 2 denarii, or a stone, a bread, and a fish.
Whoa.
Or
really good.
Perform the call a follower action, or perform the listen to a parable action. So I'm going to give that to you, and then you're going to get that thing. I'm going to get a 33 AD card, and I'm going to move up on the favor track, which will be situated right about here. And we don't have that, but that is how that mechanic works. If there's any reward showing on that space, you're going to get those immediately. So, call a follower action right here. That is going to allow you to move a follower from the camp on your player board and put them to any space in the desert, mountain, or lake for free. Notice that there are 5 spots available on each of these spaces. In a 2-player game, you can have no more than 3 people on a space at a time. Actually, I think it's true regardless of player count. You can have no more than 3 of your meeples on this region or this region or this region. So I could put my 3rd one down. Now there's no more spaces available. If Steph wants to come in and place one in that spot, she will have to displace one of mine. And instead of the cost that normally she would pay a cost. Actually, let's go ahead and move on to the temple action. I can explain the cost and everything. The temple action lets you move, lets you do that call a follower action. But it's going to cost you 1, 2, or 3 denarii for moving them to certain locations. And it's obviously not free when you're doing this temple action. If Steph were to displace my guy, I have to move this back to the camp. But instead of Steph paying this 1 denarii to the common supply, she pays it to me and pays a penalty of 1 denarii to the supply. Down here, it's 3 denarii. She would pay that 3 to me and 1 to the supply. So that's how that works.
And in the temple, you can do it as many times as you want.
Yes, in the temple, you are only limited by how many denarii you have. And money seems to be quite tight.
Money is tight, yes.
So anyway, when you see that call a follower icon, you get to move it for, yes, exactly, like that 5th parable space. You get to place the follower for free. If you go to the temple, it's going to cost. So there are icons for going to the market or temple, just like they are on the location actions up here. You'll see go to the market is right here. Go to the temple is right here. Let's talk a little bit about those. Going to the market lets you purchase as many stones, bread, or fish for 2, 3, and 4 denarii, respectively. You can also buy 1 Mahoney card for 1 denarii. Let me make sure that it's only 1. They actually talk about the follower actions before any of the location actions. I will have to look that up here in a second. Anyway, there are also follower actions for receive denarii, where you're just going to take that many denarii, obtain stone, bread, or fish. There's a redistribute action where if you have placed cards here that don't match any of these apostle groupings, you can take these cards, pick them all up, and distribute them as you like them, because you need to have these in this order exactly like this. So these 3, or these 3. So sometimes the action you want to do is not the action that you have available to you. You have 3 columns here, and so you have to be able to manipulate that, fairly judiciously. So, bye, Stacy. Anyway, then there is the meeting of the Sanhedrin icon. This is one of the icons that you can never ignore. There are a lot of them that you can ignore. This one you cannot. That is going to move the Sanhedrin marker 1 space up the track. If for some reason this rests next to one of these tiles, you're going to immediately score these tiles. So I'm going to want to have more offering tokens than Steph in order to get some sort of victory point advantage over her. Let's see the other locations. Oh, I forgot to mention, when you go to the market, you purchase a Mahoney card for 1, that does not prevent you from purchasing a Mahoney card for 2 during step 3. Remember, you do location actions first, then follower actions, then purchase a Mahoney card if you want, and then refill your hand to 5. Some of the other location actions, we talked about the temple action, moving people out here. If you take a desert action, then you are going to get 1 stone for each follower in that area. If you have the mountain action, you're going to get 2 bread. If you have 2 lakes, 2 followers in a lake, and you take a lake action, you're going to get 2 fish. So, or 1 fish, or 3 fish, however many followers you have in that area. There are also actions that will let you get a 33 AD card or a Mahoney card for free. So there are a ton of different follower actions available.
All I'm saying is the stone should have been in the mountains.
Yeah, but then they should have had maybe plains. However, they in that area they farm on the mountains.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's really not anywhere else to farm. That's how it goes. Anyway, all right. Now that I've found the location actions on the market, remember I said that you can purchase the resources or a Mahoney card. You can only purchase the Mahoney card if you have not made any sales or purchase of resources that turn. You can with these I mentioned you can buy. You can also sell if you need the money.
Making lots of fish, you could just.
If you're making fish, you can sell them for 4 a piece, and we've done that before.
Oh yeah.
You can buy and sell on the same turn, but you cannot buy and sell resources and get a Mahoney card from the market. You can get a Mahoney card during step 3 as normal, but this is if you want to just use the market for just 1 extra Mahoney card.
Mm-hmm.
That should be just about it. When you visit these apostles, remember they're going to give you those special actions. You'll see that this purple apostle has the feet lifting off the rock. And what does that mean?
Invited.
Remember? Feet lifted off the rock, you get sent to the Last Supper for free. With the yellow ones, you have, what is that action there?
That's the one I was going to ask about because it's not on my sheet. So.
I am going to find it for you. You're awarded VP immediately for the spaces behind where you seat that orange apostle. All of them that are behind that apostle immediately score VP for their players. So let's say I take this and I'll place it right here. Boom, I'm going to instantly get
5 points.
5 points. And if they were here, they would also score. Yeah. So you have to sort of take care about where you want to place those. The white apostle, this is how you killed me. This icon here means you can swap to followers' locations. So Steph sat one of her followers right behind Judas and then promptly used the white apostle to swap her meeple and mine. I knew it was coming, but I could not stop it.
But that was pretty clever.
So that's how that worked. If you seat Judas, you're gonna get 5 denarii from the common supply. I wonder why it's not 10 pieces of silver or 30 pieces of silver. Maybe that's 5 denarii. I don't know. So if all 12 of the apostles are seated at the table, then this is going to accelerate the end of the game. And this actually happened to us when we played our first game.
Yep.
Any illumination tiles that have not been used up to that point cannot be used for the rest of the game. And I'd already used mine.
You didn't.
Oh, I didn't use
it. You said, oh, I should have used that to stop the Judas thing.
Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned how to use this. if I can find where that is. Anyway.
It's on the player aid here.
Oh, is it? Oh, instead of playing a card on your turn, you can discard it to get one of the 4 appreciation rewards offered by the apostles.
Yeah.
So I could have swapped back.
If you did it.
And I should have swapped back. Yes. So all of these Sanhedrin judgment tiles that are still on the track, they're removed from the game. They don't count.
Oh, so if we finish with the apostles.
If we finish by the apostles, yes.
Oh.
And at the beginning of each player's turn, the Sanhedrin marker moves forward 1 space. Additionally, it's going to keep moving forward normally every time something shows a Sanhedrin symbol. Maybe we played that wrong, because I think we left those on there.
Yeah, I don't know where we were. So
I don't remember.
possible.
I don't remember. So these Sanhedrin markers, 1 for each offering, 1 for each follower that's at the Last Supper, 1 for each of the friendly followers. No, 1 for each of these that are out there.
Yeah.
1 for each friendly follower right here. 1 for each parable. 1 for each resource.
Well, this doesn't really make sense. I don't really get that one. I don't understand it. In our collection?
In your supply.
Because it says that's a place of friendly followers.
Yeah, but that's the icon. It's basically just to tell you it's 1 for each. Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, this icon means place 1 for free, except it's not for free, it's for cost. So it's a little bit of mixed message iconography, but it's enough to help you remember. After a while, it's fairly easy to figure out what the icons mean. It might not be easy to figure out the exact meaning of the Sanhedrin tiles. The one that is not there is the one that will replace this in a 3 or 4 player game, and that is 1 victory point for each favor they have done. And that is easily counted by how many spaces up the favor track you have moved. That is.
But whoever triggers it gets the full points, and whoever.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else gets half points.
Yes, the player that caused the marker to move into that space get all of those points, and the other players get half of the victory points. That is correct. That is correct. Thank you for helping me remember that. But yeah, I believe that is
the biggest thing that I forgot in our game was when you place a follower at the supper, you get to take an offering. You get to take the dove token.
Yes, the offering token. Anytime you place here, and I actually forgot to mention that, those are the times that you can choose to place an offering in your warehouse. Now remember, it's going to consume space in your warehouse, but they are worth 1 victory point at the end of the game.
Yeah, but you can't get rid of them. So you
cannot even choose to get rid of them.
Yeah, you might want the storage area more than the token.
So. Now, remember what I had said about displacing people. So if I place a guy right there, and then I get a bunch of resources, and you displace my guy back to me, I have to make space for him by losing a resource, or hopefully spending a resource so I'll have room for it.
All right.
Anyway.
I think that's a good overview. We are doing 2 videos. We did this rules teach for you, so hopefully everything is clear as mud.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. Somebody even said it was a medium weight euro, but I do think it's heavier than that. And that's
slightly heavier than medium.
There's like a lot of choices and a lot of things to think and plan for. So I do think there's more going on than just a medium weight game, but I can see that it's not that hard. Once you get the iconography down, it's not that hard.
Right. And then little things that you need to remember, and follow the rule book for a lot of it, at least with like, oh, hey, if all the apostles are seated, wipe this track and no more illumination tiles, et cetera, et cetera. Or every time you place the guy at the table, take a offering token. Those things can sometimes be difficult to remember, but it's doable.
Yep.
And the player aids, I have to say, are pretty good. Not only does it have the player's turn summary right here, you'll also get all of the apostle information on the back. and ways to end the game, the different victory point types, etc. The illumination tile. So lots of little reminders on this little card. So.
Yep. So be sure to check out our playthrough, which is coming up right now.
Yep. Click the video below, and hey, come join us on Twitch every Wednesday and Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. Central, where we teach and play through 3 games every night.
Yep. And for those on Twitch, we'll be right back.